Today's mobility undergoes big changes, confronting major automobile companies with new challenges. Traditional mobility concepts might be no longer sufficient to reach demands for sustainable devices and, at the same time, flexible lifestyles. Pioneering new ways of device design, smart mobility concepts need to be developed in line with consumers' requirements. To reach this goal, interdisciplinary partnerships and close cooperations between mobility experts, manufacturers and technical professionals are necessary, but especially with a key stakeholder, the consumers. The overall idea was to create smart urban pedestrian devices and to forge new ways in the search for new solutions. The process started with an open innovation process, a challenge that addressed 4 designers and engineers all over the world. Within 2.5 months, 633 innovation concepts for mobile pedestrian devices had been submitted. Submissions came from North and South America, Europe and Asia Pacific. The interest for the topic and the willingness to contribute to the challenge was overwhelming. There were more than 15,004 community votes and comments on the submissions. It was really tough to select the winning devices of the innovation process from the many good ideas.
During this challenge, we had the opportunity to prototype ideas. There's the prototype of the Carry device, which was the winner in the tethered category, and the Tricity, which is the winner in the ride-on hands-on category. And I think one of the main things and advantages around Carry, for example, is that it's integrated in the car. There's the idea that you can just drive to a city, stop with your car, park it on a nice parking spot, take out the device and do the last mile on Carry.
The next step was to bring the winning devices into realization. Using the Ford Research Alliance program, 3 institutes from RWTH Aachen University with different backgrounds were contacted. The Institute of Embedded Systems from the Computer Science Department, the Institute on Production Engineering of E-Mobility from the Mechanical Engineering Department, and the Institute of Communication Science from the Social Science Department.
Working also with the university together on building the prototypes, and that also in this small dense time what we had was really interesting to see that this all can happen. So many thanks to everyone who supported that, and I really look forward to do the next challenge again with all of you.
In close cooperation between industry and academia, the Ford Innovation Management in Aachen, the university institutes and the designers of the winning devices worked hand in hand in iterative cycles on the prototypes. In not more than 4 months, the devices had been conceptualized, built and programmed step by step, redesigned and systematically optimized. In each phase, user experience was integrated to converge to a highly accepted device design.
Of course, it's a new process, and in every process there are a few things that you have to learn and maybe also adapt later on. One of the things that we brought into this process was the involvement of different universities, where we thought, okay, they have the experience, they know the methods of how to interact with the market, interact with the customer, and we bring this experience to our teams. And based on feedback from myself as a participant, but also as an organizer, and feedback from the teams, I think the initial tryout was a real success.
Technical designers are often blind to user experiences, because they are used to seeing from a different perspective. This focus makes it hard to think in a way naive users normally do. Users expect that devices are safe and highly functional, but in addition, they wish for devices with a cool communication and interaction style that are nice, funny, stylish, emotionally compelling, and practical. Therefore, it was important to teach technical designers how to collect user requirements early in the design process and how the perspective of user experience can be an integral part in the whole development process.
A first, and for me, the most astounding workshop was the bootcamp workshop in which we had more than 25 Ford designers all over the world in Aachen, and we tried to urge them to go and to switch to the user's position. And we gave them a broom, a real traditional one, a physical, very old-fashioned broom, and asked them to define user requirements. And we exactly had 2 scenarios. One was the night flight home from a bar, and the other was a more serious one, in which we had an autonomous device which had the task to make medicine delivery each day. And it was really touching, and it was a pleasure to see how the technical engineers engaged with the tasks and how much fun they had. But it was also clear how much mental difficulty this was to switch the role from the responsibility of a technical designer to the part of the user.
We had many more of such user experience workshops with potential users. Very different users. Older, younger ones, women, men, users with different educational backgrounds. They shared with us their visions of attractive and highly accepted devices. For example, they developed the sounds and visual signals of the devices, but also the appearance of the prototypes. In addition, we asked about the personality of the devices. Should they be eye-catching or rather unobtrusive? How fast should they move? Should they be talkative or silent little helpers? How do our users expect that devices would interact and communicate with them? And we let participants really work on prototypes. We then gave the user comments and visions back to the engineers, who were really keen to learn about the users' reactions and who loved the progress we did with their devices. We also did a lot of field testing. This was the next step into reality. We went to normal streets and let users naturally interact with the devices.
Sehr dynamisch, jetzt schon, und es ist super cool. Man kann sich breitbeinig hinstellen, man kann sich die längs hinstellen. Es macht einfach Spaß, wenn das Ding jetzt noch selber fahren kann und ich kann damit irgendwie nach der Arbeit nach Hause. Super Konzept, voll witzig. Also ich könnte mich voll dran gewöhnen, mit Kari durch die Gegend zu fahren. Ich könnte ihn neben mir fahren lassen, er könnte meinen Kasten Bier transportieren, er könnte mich transportieren, er könnte uns beide transportieren. Also es ist ein echt cooles Teil.
Of course, we also looked at the functional part of the devices. Functional means that we also tested the ergonomic usability. For example, users evaluated the ease of using the foot pedals or handlebars and the overall usefulness in terms of daily assistance. But we also concentrated on the fun and the enthusiasm with which our users interacted and communicated with the devices in a natural environment. It was really beautiful to see how user experience changes technical devices, not just for adults. Even our children experts love to be an integral component of such an endeavor. It was a tough job over the last 4 months for all parties involved. But even though challenging, it was a beautiful and remarkable endeavor, and a highly successful one. The success has different phases. The open innovation process within the Ford company formed a creative and active community for modern smart mobility. Once more, the process was a demonstration of the power of interdisciplinarity, not only between different academic disciplines, but also between industry and academia. And finally, the integration of user experience in early phases of technology creates devices that have personality. And this subtle distinction is recognized by consumers. Thank you to everyone for the engagement, the ideas, the courage, and the energy.